He's in our world now, and this time, there's no escape from the Mind Flayer. Experience the most terrifying moments of Netflix's Stranger Things Seasons 2 and 3 at the world's premiere Halloween event. It's Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. Select nights September 6th through November 2nd. Save up to $52 on select nights. Visit HalloweenHorrorNights.com. Online only. Restrictions apply. Not recommended for children under 13.
Good evening, Metal Faithful. It is I, the mandated reporter, and frankly I'm mortified, Mr. Mark Radulich, and this is the Metal Hammer of Doom. We want to welcome all you Podcoin listeners. We are the hot podcast right now for yet another 2 weeks. So if you're finding us for the first time on Podcoin or on Spotify through the Heavy Metal group on Facebook, welcome. This is where myself and the host of Source Material in his own right, the disapproving dad, Jesse Starcher. Say hello, Jesse Starcher.
Hello, Jesse Starcher.
Thank you very much. We take an album that has come out within the past month or so, and we review it track by track. Neither one of us is a professional musician.
Correct.
we don't know art, but we know what we like. So tonight on the menu is Killswitch Engage Atonement. As I said, we're going to review that one track by track by track. It came out on August 16th, 2019. It has 3 singles that have been released. Unleashed, which came out June 25th, 2019. I Am Broken 2, for which there was an accompanying video that we reviewed on the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra. You can check that out in the archive. That came out July 16th, 2019. And The Signal Fire, which came out August 15th, 2019. Jesse, oh Jesse, Captain, my Captain.
Yes, sir.
Tell me about Killswitch Engage, my friend.
Well, I believe I was on the last album review that we did for this band, and if you check that out, great. If not, here's a recap for you. Guitar Hero 3, I believe, is that's what brought me to the game. I think they were a bonus song. Maybe they were in the story mode. I can't remember, but I remember that's where I first heard them from, and I was like, as with just about every other damn band that was on that game, I took a liking to because I actually got to play their music in some form. But yeah, I mean, I was a fan of what was out at that time, which is, I don't have the discography in front of me. You think I would have had that in front of me. Oh my gosh. But anyway, became a fan, listened to that album and listened to the next one, and then I had the chance to review the last one with you guys. I wasn't too impressed with the last album. So this one kind of had to pick some things up for me. And I wondered if I'd like it at all, because they felt like they fell into this kind of samey type of, the samey stuff that we usually talk about on here, where it's like, okay, well, that's Killswitch Engage, and there's another one, and there's another one. But to be quite frank, I was pleasantly surprised, and we'll get more into that. But that's that's where I'm at with Killswitch Engage. By the way, I've got the discography in front of me now. My Curse was the one off of the video game that we played, and the name of that album was As Daylight Dies, I believe.
That makes sense. Yeah, that seems to be like the big breakout album.
Yep, As Daylight Dies came out in 2006, and that was a great album too. Loved it.
The Atonement is the 8th studio album by Killswitch Engage. They've had some changes in their lineup. I believe Howard Jones was originally in the band as the lead vocalist. He was replaced by Jesse Leach, and then we have Adam Duckowitz.
I think Leach was in the original band, and then Jones replaced him for a little bit.
Okay.
And then Leach came back in 2012.
That makes sense. Like I said, Adam Darkwing Duck is on lead guitars and backing vocals. Jesse Joe Strotzel, Hansel and Gretel.
All I can think of is The Rock talking about a strudel. So I'm sorry.
Oh goodness!
My! I'll say it.
He gets on the rhythm guitar and the backing vocals. There's Mike D'Antonio. That one I could read. Is on the bass guitar, and Justin Foley is on drums. However, Howard Jones does do guest vocals, additional vocals on the Signal Fire. And go Chuck Billy!
That's right, buddy.
You know Chuck Billy.
Indeed I do. Testament all the way, baby.
God damn. What is it? The something of the snake?
The serpent. Something or other.
Yeah.
Damn. Hey, we're also not professional podcasters either, ladies and gentlemen, just in case you couldn't figure that out.
Yeah, we don't know. We like to do things off the cuff, which sometimes ends in us not remembering shit. Welcome to Two Old Men Review Metal.
Yeah. Welcome to I should have took my vitamin B today.
Anyway, Chuck Billy of an awesome band called Testament, of which we reviewed their last 2 albums on here as well.
Brotherhood of the Snake, sir. Brotherhood of the Snake.
Thank you. He provides additional vocals on The Crownless King. So, if you like this, if you like 2 old men bumbling and stumbling through an album review, you can check out our earlier review of Incarnate. And we've also, at the behest of our former third man on the booth, Robert Cooper, whose name for his blog I stole for this podcast, the Hammer of Doom, which he wrote for 401mania.com once upon a time. We haven't done one in quite some time. We've had too many other albums to review, but we used to do a band.
Yep.
God damn it, Jesse. We used to do catalog reviews.
Okay. Are you talking about retrospectives?
That's the one.
Okay,
we used
all
to do
right.
retrospectives. And we did a Killswitch Engage retrospective a few years ago. So,
okay.
Those are all in the archives for you to check out here on the Metal Hammer of Doom on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. All right, I think we've rambled long enough.
Rambled, bambled, stumbled, and bumbled.
Goddamn right. If you've been listening to us for quite some time now, if you're not new to the game, you know this is how we roll.
That's right, baby.
We are loose like a long-necked goose. We like it easy on a Sunday morning.
Easy breezy.
Could we reference any more things right now? By the way, do you read to your kids at night, Jesse?
Here lately, I've been having them read to me.
Okay.
So,
you got kids that can actually read? Because I don't. Actually, no.
We have discussed that.
My daughter reads just fine. She's kicking ass in school. But apparently my son actually was able to read a kindergarten-level book to my wife. I don't know when this fucking witchery happened, but... that quick.
See?
Yeah, apparently it just fucking clicks like a light.
Exactly.
But anyway, I still read to both my kids, because even if they can read, apparently there is some developmental... there's some developmental thing.
Benefits?
Thank you. Fuck me.
Are you talking about yourself when you talking about these developmental benefits? Not happening, sir. You need to have them.
I'm back to work 3 days working 12-hour shifts. I can't remember shit. I can't stay awake. CPAP.
What is going on with my body?
Maybe the doctor was right. I should have stayed home for another month. Anyway, there are educational and developmental benefits to being read to, even if you can actually read. So I still read to my son and daughter every night before bed, at least Monday through Friday. Weekends, we kind of, go fucking watch YouTube. Get out of here, kid. You follow me.
Go take that stack of candy and go to your room. It's time for bed.
But the reason why I'm telling you this before we jump into the first track here is a fun game to play with your children is to, as you're reading them a story at night, when you see a key word that triggers a song. See, I can't remember words, but songs come to me left and right. So, so last night I read to them a Paw Patrol book that involved, like, the Paw Patrol going to the beach.
Okay.
Which then spurred me to burst into Rockaway Beach by the Ramones. Ad nauseum, and much to the big distress of my children, who just wanted to hear the fucking story, not Dad Does Broadway.
Yep.
The next day, as they were getting up for school, sometimes I like to mess with them, and I'll put on loud music to inspire them to get dressed faster.
Time to get up, kids.
So I made them listen to Rockaway Beach by the Ramones.
Nice.
Tonight,
nice.
I read a Toy Story. These are all the books that I read them, generally speaking. If it's not Dr. Seuss, it's a Golden Book. You know what the Golden Books are, right?
Yeah, the little golden books. Yep.
Yeah. It's any number of different IP that have been converted into children's stories, but it has the little golden strip along the bind.
That's right. Looks very pretty on the bookshelf.
Yes. So one of my kids brought me a golden book of a Toy Story book, and I read that, and there was something about shake, rattling, and rolling in the book. So of course I broke into Elvis.
Oh my goodness!
I got up and danced and everything. And
I was expecting like a Honky Tonk Man reference or something.
just fucking did the shake, rattle, and roll to my son.
Yeah, like,
right
hey, good job on the book. Here we go. I'm for bed.
Fucking late.
Neckbreaker.
Oh yeah, I did a swinging neckbreaker to Jonas and hit my daughter over the head with a guitar. El, come on.
Good night, everybody. Flip the light out and leave.
It'd be fucking awesome. I'm gonna do that tomorrow morning. Come put this shirt on. Oh shit, swinging neckbreaker. Wife walks out of the room. Why aren't they ready for school? Why is my son on the floor?
Oh man, that'd be great.
Fucking sleeps there. I don't understand it. It's all true. Every last bit of it. Anyway, so yes, so I played Elvis for them. You should have seen the look of disgust in my kids' faces. Just
really?
Oh my god, they're so tired of me and my antics.
Oh, okay. I was like, they don't like Elvis? What's going on? They're just tired of your ass. Okay, I understand now.
You know how, like, on this podcast, I will squirrel and play a song because it's more interesting than what we're talking about?
Yes.
I do that, but I sing to my kids, and they are less tolerant of it than you are.
All they want is just to hear the fucking story, Dad. Yeah. Jeez.
Read the fucking book. Do it. Fucking do it. I came here to listen to Killswitch Engage. Fucking start already.
Oh, here we go.
All right.
On that real quick, why don't I just delay getting into it? I shared a podcast from Source Materials Days Gone By, episode 44 from 3 years ago, and you want to talk about delay and getting to the subject. Shit, we were 10 to 15 minutes in, and I was talking about how sick I was and how sick the kids were, and I was like, Ronnie was a trooper. All he wanted to do was talk about a comic, and I did not want to talk about it, apparently. Well, don't listen to that episode.
These were the salad days before I made Ronnie quit on an ongoing basis.
Indeed.
I'm here to talk about comics. Okay, racist. What the fuck, dude? All right. That's how Source Materials used to go.
That's right.
Before
funniest shit though. Funniest shit. That's the thing. That was what great.
These were the days before Jesse started bringing fucking strangers on the show, and now I have to behave myself.
Yeah. For a little while.
All right. Speaking of behaving myself, let's get the show on the fucking road here. We got our opening track here is Unleashed.
Let's go! This is that dwells inside these eyes. Push on to the breaking point. You're running out of time. This innocent blood is on your hands. Come face to face with the final stand.
All right, so what'd you think of that opening track, Unleashed?
Well, like I said, I was really concerned with the previous album, so I was like, all right, am I going to get just same old Killswitch Engage? I want something to grab me. I want to hear some stuff that actually is decent, and Unleashed did a fine job of being a great opener to this album. I think that, this is a track that... At first, I was like, okay, is it going to get better? And then, I mean, it gets heavy. There's some heaviness to this. There's heaviness to this whole album. And I was impressed, man. I was glad I got what I got with Unleashed. So, how about you?
It's as heavy as a real heavy thing.
That's right. That's right.
I thought it was we, again, not professional musicians. It's not a whole lot we can tell you about songcraft, beyond an elementary level. But I think album craft, in terms of how long an album is, how many tracks are on it, what placement they are, in the album, like what order they go in, what are released as singles. I think that is something we do a fairly good job of talking about. And I think Unleashed is tonally a good way to start the album. A lot of bands kind of go for that. Pantera is probably a great example of this. I don't know how much you remember about their third album, not Reinventing the Steel. Far Beyond Driven.
Okay, yeah.
Where it just fucking opens up with Phil screaming his head off. There's a lot of bands, especially the heavy, of the heavier variety, that just, track one, and they just jump right into it. I think albums should. I like the structure where you're building up to something, and then you come down a little bit. You build up, you come down, you come up, you come down. And then you kind of fade out. Mm-hmm. So I think Unleashed does a really good job of setting the tone. Not the heaviest song on here, but I think it gives you a nice pitch for what you're going to get for the rest of the album. And I think it leaves you wanting more. I'm not satisfied with Unleashed. I think it's good, but I want to hear more. I want it to get a little heavier.
Yeah, it tantalizes. How's that? Titillates the palate. Little palate manipulation.
Tits and nipples, everybody, and buckle in. That's where this podcast is going.
Yes, sir. Woo! Crack one.
All right. Speaking of tits and nipples, this is The Signal Fire featuring Howard Jones. Well, if that doesn't scream fuck shit up in the pit, I don't know what does.
Fuck yes, man. That track. Okay, if you didn't think the first one was heavy, they come in with that. you're like, oh shit, here we go.
Yeah, that's definitely the steak to the Unleash's appetizer.
Agreed. So this kicks it up a notch, definitely, and the rest of the song does not let up. There's some nice little solo work in there. So I'm doing a little bit of research. I do that every once in a while. Hop on, check out some of the other great review sites out there. Metal Injection, Angry Metal Guy. Check out some of that. So Metal Injection says this. So speaking of nerding out, here's how Jesse describes his inspiration for the song. He says, I had an image from Lord of the Rings when they climb to the top of the mountain and light a fire to signal for backup. So that's where the signal fire kind of has its origins. And then they proceed to say, does this make Jesse Gondor and Howard Rohan? All right. So that's interesting.
Fantastic.
Interesting origin to a very good song. Really like that song.
Indeed. All right. We're going to keep it going here. Yeah, I really like that one. That one I would like to hear live, right there in the pit. I think it's got, that's what we like in modern metal.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the next one up here is Us Against the World.
In our melodies, the voices of fate, a testament to all we hope for. They will learn of the passionate tragedy that lies in wait when they stand up against the onslaught. Nothing could ever tear us apart.
In there they talk about dealing with the onslaught. I think you know what you have to do, Jesse.
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, go check out source material. We've got some Onslaught for your ass. We're talking 3 volumes of Onslaught, folks. If you are a Marvel's Comics 90s enthusiast, you'd love to check that out. It's right here on the network. Is that what you wanted, Mark? I hope it was.
Almost. I think your opening music for the 4th volume of Onslaught needs to be Us Against the World.
Oh, well, you know what? That could very well be. That's a good one right there.
So after kind of getting your feet wet with Unleashed, they go full throttle into the signal fire, and then they dial it back again a bit with this one, Us Against the World. Maintains a level of heaviness without it being super thrashy. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of power and emotion in this one. I think it's a fine track from Killswitch Engage.
Yeah, we've got 3 tracks in. This one kept my interest at least. I wouldn't say it's the best track of the 3, but that we've heard so far. But again, like I said, I'm not going, oh crap, here we go. This is skippable. Now, this is something that's still decent. I'm listening to this album probably, I'd say 5 times there. I think it was Tuesday. I just set it on repeat and let it play. And again, I've said this before in the past, if it's a bad album, I am either going to skip tracks or I'm turning it off like after the second listen. Didn't happen here. So, yeah, I'm still invested at track 3. So let's see what track 4 has in store for us because, oh boy.
All right, here we go. This is The Crownless King.
Destroy them, the useless to us now.
Oh, Chuck Billy. You know, you could have easily convinced me that was a Testament song, especially from Brotherhood of the Snake.
Yeah, man. I was just checking out the track list of Brotherhood of the Snake. It's been a while since I revisited that album. Remember Can of Business? Can of Business?
I do.
There are a few songs that actually pop up every once in a while from that album. Neptune Spear, which is a good one. I really like Seven Seals.
The album before Brotherhood of the Snake, if you could look it up for me real quick, that was when we first started doing the podcast. It just happened to be that album had come out around the same time, and so that was one of our very early reviews. But like, I remember listening to Testament in the '90s and being, I don't know about this. You know, them and Overkill. I was like, yeah. There's other stuff.
I'm always on Overkill.
Welcome to New Jersey, you fuck.
Oh, jeez. I'm never going there. That's just because they made every fucking New Jersey person sound violent, and I don't want to get beat up just because I'm from out of state.
Well, how would they know? I mean,
get the fuck out of my state. Okay, I'm out. I'll see you later.
Just walk around.
I want to pump my own gas anyway.
Just walk around in a Devil's jersey. You'll be fine.
Okay, all right. I fit right in.
Yeah, exactly. In any case, but yeah, man, those last two Testament albums, and they're working on a third now, were both the years that they came out. Some of my favorite albums of that year, and this last one, The Crownless King, sounded more Testament than it did Killswitch Engage. I really liked it.
Yeah, it was one of the better tracks. I'd say probably top 3 off this album for me. I really, really dug this track. Dark Roots of the Earth, by the way, is the name of the album you're thinking of.
Dark Roots of the Earth is fucking amazing. Like, when you're done listening to this podcast, even if you don't check out our review of that one, because it's like from 20 years ago, I exaggerate. Just go jump on your Spotify account, and if you haven't listened to it, check out Testament's Dark Roots of the Earth. It's amazeballs.
Yeah, I remember after listening to that, I went back and listened to the Formation of Damnation, which was 2008's release from Testament, and I came out of that one going, wow, this band's actually good, and I've never went anything prior to that because I'm scared, but they have something on Spotify. This is crazy. They have something that's on Spotify. It's called The Complete Albums, 1987 and 1994. And it's 68 fucking tracks long, dude. 68 tracks. That's insanity. So I wanted to kind of, just real quick, before I forget about it, talk about I was giving Incarnate a little bit of crap. That was the previous album from 2016 from Killswitch Engage. And I think I know why. If you look at this album right here, Atonement has 11 songs on it, 39 minutes long. And if you take a look at Incarnate, it's 15 songs and it's 53 minutes. That's a big difference, especially for a metal band like this. And I think that's what turned me off of Incarnate, was that it was so long and it just felt all the same. This album here is just way better at keeping it short, to the point, and in your face. And I think, there are some songs that dial it back, just like you said, but it's few and far between, and they keep the pace up, and they keep you engaged. They almost it's like that's part of their name or something. Mm-hmm. I made a Killswitch Engage joke, Mark. Damn you. You laugh at it. Stop paying attention to your internet.
I laughed.
Bastard. You did. No, you went, mm-hmm. That's not a laugh. That's a laugh. My ass.
I laughed after you yelled at me nervously.
I laughed when you told me to, you son of a bitch.
Oh, Jesse, I fancy you.
Oh, Tarja Bomb.
Oh, Tarja Bomb. Tarja Bomb, oh, Tarja Bomb, you sing in a snowy forest.
She does.
Oh, Tarja Bomb, you have several dress changes. Tarja Bomb. Sorry.
Save it for Christmas or whenever the hell that album comes out.
Metal Hammer of Doom Christmas Carols. Oh, Tarja Bomb.
Oh,
all right. So, as we were saying before, this next one we did a reaction to their video for. And if you're just finding the podcast either through Spotify or through Podcoin or any other of your podcast mediums, and somehow or other you landed here after your house was blown away by a twister, and this is where you woke up in the land of metal munchkins. We try to pick videos that actually have some shit going on. Like, I can't do the everyone stand in a circle and play their instruments.
Sometimes we're forced to.
Yeah, sometimes we don't really have a choice. Or, the concert video footage one. Like, we have done them, and when we don't have, like, better choices, I'll deal with it. But I can't do those anymore. There's just nothing that we end up talking about everything but the video because of that. Well, Killswitch Engage put out an amazing video for I Am Broken 2. And my one criticism about the song before we listen to it is it's too damn short. I wish...
Wow, that's kind of rare.
Yeah, normally I'm just like, this needs editing. Cut everything. I want a 30-second album. That's all I can handle. By the way, Family Guy joke, Family Guy reference. They were talking about how nobody has any attention span anymore because of their phones and the internet, that lethal combination. So they were trying to become like influencers on the internet. So they came up with this idea of the 30-second talk show. And and so it's literally like a late night talk show, but it only goes for 30 seconds. So Peter barely gets to introduce anything before they have to say goodnight.
Oh,
he's
nice.
He's like, ladies and gentlemen, our musical guest, the Bare Naked News. It's been thank you and good night. Which sometimes when we do these shows, it's kind of how I feel about some of these albums. It's like, nope, this song is an hour long. This song is an hour too long. Well, if you cut an hour, then you have 0 minutes. Well, I'm like, yeah, it would have been perfect. It's been good night. So this is the rare occasion where I think there was too much potential for greatness left on the cutting room floor, and what we got was just a sample of what could have been. This is an amazing song and a great video, and I think a missed opportunity. Ladies and gentlemen, this is I Am Broken 2. Yeah, I mean, at 2 minutes and 39 seconds, that's all I can play of that, and I probably went a little too long. Though, yeah, well, as we've discussed before, there's really actually no rule here. I'm either going to get sued or I'm not. But that left such an earworm for me personally. And while I don't struggle necessarily with alcohol abuse or any illicit substances, certainly the idea of psychological trauma and finding solace in a vice speaks to me on a professional level and to a degree on a personal level. My wife and I share one negative commonality, if nothing else, and that is we both eat our feelings.
Yeah. Yeah. I feel you, man.
I have definitely found happiness at the bottom of a bag of Taco Bell.
I've been there.
So, it doesn't quite have the gravitas of substance abuse, but What the song is dealing with is, I believe that like in the video we talked about this on the Metal Hammer of Doom Extra. It's implied, I guess, that in a drunk driving incident, he killed his pregnant wife. Is that right?
Yep.
And so sort of dealing with the aftermath and being wrought with guilt over his weakness, his trauma, his tragedy. He dives into a bottle, and his life just sort of spirals from there. Again, personally, professionally, emotionally, empathetically, that all speaks to me. It makes me sad, but I appreciate the song. The song itself has great driving guitars. Jesse Jones, George Jones,
Jesse Leach.
Thank you, Jesse Leach. I'd have done that for an hour until I got it right. Jesse Leach's vocals probably are perfect for the subject matter, and it's a great compliment to what the band is putting out there, craft-wise.
Yeah. There's definitely some imagery here that's very poetic for a metal band, even though it's obviously derived on a lot of reality that a lot of people face. I went to this is from noecho.net, and I'll read this to you. It says, for the sake of context, those who follow or have ever come across Jesse Leach's social media know that he's candid about his struggles with depression. And they quoted a tweet here. It says, as far as I am able to understand, I'm currently recovering from a mental breakdown that was caused by prolonged depression and anxiety, as well as other mental factors. And the guy says, well, I've not met Jesse in person. Beyond being a fan of the music, this song broke through what I feel like has been a mental fog for the last few weeks. So his music is, I don't know if that's a tweet from Jesse or if that's a tweet from the writer. Either way, you could tell that this song has reached not only you, but the purpose of it is to reach as many people as possible. And that's one of the beautiful things about songwriting, whether it be metal, whether it be country, whether it be pop. There's a song that's out there that speaks to you. And when somebody really sits down and puts pen to paper about some of the most serious shit out there, some of the usually there's some really great songs that result from that. I was just reading yesterday I was reading, and I don't think you're a Pearl Jam fan, but
no.
I was reading about the song Jeremy. Okay.
He spoke in class today. I don't know if you heard about that.
Yes, he did. So I knew
clearly. I remember picking on the boy.
You do. I'm sure you were the guy picking on the boy.
It seemed like a harmless little fun.
So you know the song. Now, the only thing I ever knew about the song... Yeah, the only thing I never really knew about the song, other than the lyrics, and I remember watching the video and learning, just watching the video, it seemed like it was about a school shooting. So for the longest time, that's what I thought the song was about, which it was, but it was more along the lines of a kid who was really quiet and just reached the end of his rope one day. I think from the wiki, if I remember right, it said he came into school late, was told to go get a tardy slip. He goes out, grabs a gun, walks back into his class, tells his teacher, I got what I went for, puts the gun in his mouth, and blows his brains out in front of the class. That's some heavy shit. And as soon as Eddie Vedder read that in the paper, he immediately came up with that song. So personal events, whether it be something that's happening to you personally or something that just strikes you that happened to somebody else, can result in some of the greater songs that are put out there for people to listen to. This, I think, is one of them. I think this is a really good one.
We digest a lot of music, and it takes a lot for things to stay with me. This one's going to stay with me for a while. Is there anybody out there by Machine Head?
That's good. Yeah.
We talked about, at the time, and this is still true, with everything that I've been through personally, professionally, medically, since 2016, at a minimum, And and I've talked about how even being married with kids, in fact, I talked about this with my wife tonight, how sometimes I still have bouts of depression and feeling isolated, even before all the recent stuff started. I really do have feelings of, that I'm alone. I'm isolated from the world. And I don't want to get further into it. But I admitted something to my wife tonight. She was like, "You couldn't be more wrong." But so that made me feel better. But there are definitely times where I feel like I am alone in the world. And so a song like "Is There Anybody Out There" really speaks to me. Same as this one. Now, another song that spoke to me from a few years past is Steel Panther's "Wasted Too Much Time," because that also speaks to me and my feelings. That's a whole other conversation.
Yes, sir.
Oh, if you thought we were getting too serious.
Yeah. Should have known better.
It won't last. But yeah, man, that's good. That's good stuff by them. And from a craft perspective, though, I feel like there was more they could have done with that.
Shortest song on the album.
It is, and it's not fair because it's probably the best song on there. And I wish maybe they had thrown in a guitar solo and maybe another verse. I don't know. I feel like it makes a statement. And here's what I was going to say before I got distracted with my own sort of self-psychoanalysis. We talk on here about bands like OTEP and Ministry and and L7, and these are bands with political agendas, which I don't begrudge people, but one of the comments that we've consistently made about that is these bands play into an echo chamber. Mm-hmm. They're not reaching people. They're certainly not reaching people capable of making any kind of macro or micro political change. Mm-hmm. Nobody in those areas are listening. And if they are listening, they're not taking any of those messages to heart. Mm-hmm. And so I feel like you have the right to express yourself with regards to the political climate or an issue that gets your goat, but nobody is listening. People might be hearing you, but they're not listening. Whereas a song like that one, I think, reaches its intended targets and does the job it's meant to do. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It's got substance. It's full of substance.
OTEP saying, vote for somebody besides Trump because we hate, because we hate his policies, isn't going to result in people going, you know what, I was going to vote for Trump, but OTEP said he sucks, so...
You've talked me out of it.
So Elizabeth Warren in 2020, that's not happening. But somebody who is struggling with substance, who hears that song, maybe doesn't give up the bottle necessarily directly because of that song, but I think music as a therapeutic device, I'm 100% behind. Music as a political device, I think, is asinine.
Yeah. Go check out the first ever Metal Hammer of Doom, where we got to extra. That is the first ever Metal Hammer of Doom extra, where we got to talk about some Uncle Al.
Uncle Al's working on a new album and a duet with David Hasselhoff.
That's phenomenal.
I can't get Pat to commit to covering that the day before Thanksgiving. He still wants to do 80s Kiss. I feel like we may have to break our habit of only doing albums the year they come out in the year they're in, and we may have to save David Hasselhoff for 2020. I don't know how you feel about that.
I'm fine. I'm fine with whatever. I will talk whatever album what needs to be talked. So I'm down with whatever we got to do, because that may be one of those ones that has to be discussed.
I might save it for. I think I want to say it's an album full of covers. If it is, I might save it for next Halloween.
Have you listened to any David Hasselhoff lately?
I have not.
He came out with a song called True Survivor, and if you are a fan of the YouTube smash hit, I guess, made for YouTube movie, which would be Kung Fury, he does a decent job.
You know, if you're interested in Jesse talking about Kung Fury, you should check out our Patreon page at patreon.com/Radulich. And his commentary is a Patreon exclusive right now.
Oh, look at that.
For the cost of $1, I believe it is.
$1 a month.
One measly dollar gets you all kinds of commentaries.
You can find that change, at least span it out 30 days. If you dig in your couch 30 days in a month, you're going to find $1 at some point. Come on.
If you're listening to us on Podcoin, you can listen to a bunch of podcasts on Podcoin and turn that around and spend $1 and even get more podcasts.
Yeah, to get paid for. I don't understand where the problem is here. It's pretty easy math in my opinion.
That's
Get
right.
Scott Steiner on the phone.
And you mark that off on your bingo card. Okay. Speaking of bingo cards, let's move on to the next track here. This is As Sure as the Sun Will Rise. All right, I like that one. That was good. But what does the Angry Metal Guy think?
Oh, Angry Metal Guy. Well, I made sure to grab some stuff from him because I know we always check out his blog and just to see what he has to say.
We always run out of our own shit to say, so we have to steal from other people's.
Well, hey.
Hang on. My son had the funniest joke that he stole from somebody today.
Oh, really? Okay.
Why wouldn't you give Elsa a balloon?
Tell me why.
Because she'd let it go.
Oh, oh boy, that's a good one.
I was so proud of him. Yeah, apparently he got it from the Sirius XM station that plays like music for kids. And so he could not wait to tell me that fucking joke.
That's a good one. I'll have to be telling my kids tomorrow.
Oh, dad jokes.
That's a perfect one.
Oh, Tarja Bomb.
Oh, Tarsha Bomb. So, you want to hear a pizza joke?
Do I want to hear a pizza joke? I would love to hear a pizza joke.
Never mind. It's too cheesy. So, oh, goodness. All right, Angry Metal Guy. I grabbed a paragraph from our good buddy, Angry Metal Guy. As someone still dealing from the PTSD that the self-titled album gave him, again, I'm always happy when Killswitch releases a new album featuring songs that are fully alive and not just breathing. However, as someone who has waited for the new Killswitch Engage album and been rewarded with Daylight Dies and Disarm the Descent in the past, it's tough to be too excited about Atonement. There's nothing to hate here, but there's relatively little to love as well. So, I noticed in a good portion of my reviews that I was reading, there seemed to be a lot of trepidation and, cautious optimism as to what Atonement was going to bring to the table. It made it sound like there was a lot of people weren't too happy with the last two entries. And not because they hated them, but more along the lines of it's Killswitch Engage again. Kind of what I mentioned earlier in the podcast, where it almost hit samey territory. It wasn't... You usually want to see an artist or a band kind of grow, bring something new to the table. We didn't get a lot of that apparently with our last couple albums. And his quote where he says, "Fully alive and not just breathing," I think is perfect. Where the band hits those notes that they are known for, and they hit them well in this album. They don't just sit back and pick up the phone and say, it's Killswitch Engage again, here's track 9, and phone it in. See what I did there? So it's this album, for me personally, feels like it has a lot to offer, but not, it isn't an overabundant of kick-ass, holy shit, here we go, take name songs, but it isn't an overabundance of, okay, this is just Killswitch Engage again, and, I'll fast forward to the next track and hear the same thing. So I agree with Angry Metal Guy when it comes to that. So far from what you've heard on the album, Mark, I mean, what do you think? Do you think that he's on the right track when he says stuff like that?
I don't know what he wants from this band. I mean, here's the thing. Yeah, I hear from other podcasts, whatever, this thing, and even from some people that we work with here on the Radulich and Broadcasting Network, this concept of we don't want to be afraid to like things, as if being critical is somehow a sin.
Mm-hmm.
I take pride, and if I could sum up the Radulich and Broadcasting Network in a single sentence, is we'll tell you if it's shit. We're not afraid to tell you when things are bad, and when things are good, we'll tell you when things are good. I don't consider myself or the people that I have on this network, with the possible exception of Robert Winfrey, and even he, I just I think he's hypercritical, but he's not wrong in a lot of cases.
Yeah,
I think he's just willing to see through all the BS. In some cases, he's just overboard. But I would say, by and large, from one show to the next, we're pretty good about isolating what's bad about a thing and what's good about a thing, and how a thing could be better.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that separates us from a lot of podcasts who are either like hypercritical and offer no constructive criticism, or are like promoting something as good just because they want to be noticed, they want to be retweeted, whatever
tickets to Disney World,
tickets to Disney. Let me at the Galaxy's Edge. I'm a Star Wars fan. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like we're genuine in a world of very disingenuous podcasts. Not all of them, obviously. First of all, there's 1.5 quintillion podcasts out there.
Yeah.
Some of them are
just picking us.
Yeah, some of them are a little disingenuous. I'm just saying.
Mm-hmm.
But in this particular case, like, I'm sitting here and I've already in my head got kind of a letter grade for this, and then I hear Angry Metal Guy is just not having it. And I'm like, what did you expect?
Well,
like, I don't.
He is the Angry Metal Guy.
He is, but he's not the unreasonable metal guy.
He gave it a 3 out of 5. So.
I feel like he's just over this band,
and it could very well be that.
He doesn't strike me as pretentious, but I feel like that review was very pretentious.
When you look at and compare it to their previous entries, now this guy, I'm sure
this is a big improvement over their last album.
Yes, 100%. But he's also comparing it to those ones that he listed there: Disarm the Descent. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the wrong thing. One, Disarm the Daylight Dies. Mm-hmm. He said Daylight Dies and Disarm the Descent. So he was blown away by some of that. And one of the things that I remember reading, they had mentioned that this band was a darling when it came to new metal was just kind of getting phased out. That was the trend. It was kind of falling away. And Killswitch Engage came along, and everybody was like, "Oh shit, this is where metal needs to go now." And this was back, I think in 2009? No, it's way earlier than that. But either way, so these guys, 8th album, right? This is the 8th album, is that what they said? 7th or 8th? Okay.
8th.
Okay, so, you want to hear something kick-ass, you want to hear something new, you want to see what these guys are doing, and I understand what you're saying. If there's nothing to hate on here, why be critical? But sometimes you've got to look at the previous catalog that's come before and just see how it stacks up. Because
well,
if you're blazing a trail,
that sounds like you're making the Volbeat argument, where hey, their first couple of albums were killer, and this stuff doesn't measure up. But as I've said, just because it doesn't measure up to your previous catalog doesn't necessarily mean it's bad.
Mm-hmm. I hear you. Well, there's your Angry Metal Guy review. Let me take a look here. The name of that song we just listened to. What was that? That was As Sure as the Sun Will Rise. My notes for that one I had listed here. That it was an okay song. It wasn't one of the best ones off the album. I wasn't, I didn't hate it. It was a decent track. I don't think it stand out though. That's the thing, but not horrible.
I don't know. I think so far there's been some real winners on this album, and then the stuff that isn't as good as the best is still solid. I mean, they're not Killswitch Engage in 2019 is not exactly groundbreaking.
That's true. But I don't know. Me personally, I think the album is decent, and what we've heard so far is decent. I've heard a lot. I've heard one of the review sites, as a matter of fact, it was down here. This was from Consequence of Sound. It says that, the album doesn't really present anything new from the band. And then Metal Injection says that it followed the similar pattern where Disarm the Descendant and Carnage each led off with 4 excellent songs, and then the plateau into somewhat predictable decency. Now, I will tell you that I don't believe that that's correct, because we have some pretty good bangers at the end of this, towards the end of this album. So I will disagree with that, and I think that if you could put a competent album together that keeps people interested, that's really all you need to do.
It's the metal community is funny. I'm going to say this, and then we'll go to the next track here. But the metal community strikes me as pretty hilarious, because if a band differs greatly from their previous entries, people criticize it as either selling out or just being too different. They're not comfortable with that level of change. But if you put out something similar or in the same vein as your previous entries, you're criticized for not bringing something new to the table. You people don't know what you want. You're all flim-flam.
Oh, a bunch of flim-flammers out there.
Is your name Wishy or Washy?
Oh, goodness. Shots fired.
There's a shock on this podcast. All right. Let's go to our next track here. This is not Rage Against the Machine, but this is Know Your Enemy. So that one took a little while to get cooking, but when it hits that chorus, it's a banger.
Yes, sir. It's my favorite track off the album. I really like Know Your Enemy. I remember when I was listening to this at work, I made it through the first 6, and I'm like, okay, this album's this album's fun to listen to and enjoyable. And then Know Your Enemy hits, and I'm like, oh, fuck, man, I'm about to play some air guitar. Watch out, everybody. I'm about to play some air guitar.
Oh, shit.
Oh, shit. So, yeah, I really like this one. It's in your face. I don't know if I don't think he goes clean at all in this, because there are a few songs where they mix the harsh and the clean every once in a while, but this one's just all out, balls out in your face, and it is a great track. And like I said, me and you've talked about the next one, but as far as heaviness and shit that makes me want to play air guitar, Know Your Enemy is the one to listen to, because there is a guitar lick in there. There's two guitar licks in there that are just badass. So give that one a shot. I would come back to that one any day of the week.
Indeed. All right, let's move on here to our next track here. This is Take Control. Control. Got to. You know, Killswitch Engage is one of those bands where I find myself equally enjoying the screamy, growly type vocals. You know, that five-fingered death punch bro vocal, and then the powerful, clean vocals. You know, and Jesse Leitz there kind of definitely oscillates back and forth between the two. He has a really, I happen to like the specific tone of his voice. It's not too deep, but it does have bass/baritone quality to it, and I think it's very powerful. His voice kind of reminds me, but in a man dude way, of a lot of the really impressive female voices that I enjoy listening to. Like, their voices are like the main attraction to that kind of music.
Yeah. I love the mix of harsh and clean in a lot of songs, but here's the thing. I think most of this song is him belting out clean vocals, and it sounds great. It really does sound like it fits the subject matter. You can tell when he goes clean, it's really serious. You know, it's definitely a more serious song and tone, especially this particular song, which is a very positive song. When you listen to the lyrics, it's very, it's one of those things where it's like, listen, don't let the bad shit get you down. This is a very good representation of when we talk about positive metal. This one's right up there on the list. And yeah, they kind of slow it down. We just went from Know Your Enemy to Take Control, and it's not bad. I mean, I really do. Number one, I like the message, and I think the song's good as well.
Okay, you want to medley the last three?
Let's do it.
All right, so the last three tracks on here are Ravenous, I Can't Be the Only One, and Bite the Hand That Feeds. So here we go with the Radulich and Broadcasting Network Metal Hammer of Doom medley. right. Well, that does it for this edition of the Metal Hammer of Doom. Killswitch Engage, Atonement, Jesse. Despite some of the criticisms that we heard earlier, I'm going to have to go A- on this one.
Okay.
Solid effort. I really don't have a whole lot of complaints.
I think you're struggling with yourself with that minus, too. I think you wanted to give it something a little bit more.
I did. Well, that's the thing. Like, you had an engaging argument.
Killswitch engaging argument there.
You really did. You kill switched my A and engaged me with your argument to give it a minus.
All right.
Yakety schmackety do.
Let's draw this joke out some more.
Yeah, I was thinking A almost the entire time, but I heard your argument about this isn't breaking new ground, it's a solid effort. And I'm thinking, like, earlier things that we've said in the year were standout. You know, we're interesting. They stayed with you. And outside of I Am Broken 2, which speaks to something very close to me, the rest of it's a solid metal album. And so I can't really go above an A-. I'd like to, because it doesn't offend me the way it seems to have offended or bored maybe the Anglo metal guy, and to a lesser extent you. But I hear the argument, and I think it's a valid one. So A-.
Okay. All right. Well, I will say that this is absolutely a vast improvement from Incarnate. They knew that they had to get an album out there that kicked some ass and did not bore the audience. I think that they did a fantastic job of avoiding that pitfall. I was not bored at all in this album. One of my notes here for Ravenous was by track 9 on Incarnate, I was bored. I was just looking for other stuff, hoping that the next track would actually pick up and do something. So, you know, that's good. You know, to see it improve. I think that this album by the end of the year will definitely be in the top half of all the albums we do this year. It's going to struggle probably to get in the top 10, but it might crack the top 10 because there isn't a whole lot on here that makes me go, ugh. It's all like, okay, yeah, I can dig that. Oh, hey, we picked it up here. This is a good track. There's probably a good 2 or 3 tracks off this album that make me go, that's going on a playlist. Okay. So,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I'm done, man. Go ahead.
Okay. I didn't want to cut you off because I want to segue into something a little bit different here. First time I'm going to do this. Okay.
Okay.
What's on Mark's playlist right now?
Oh, let's hear it.
So there are a lot of albums that come out that we don't get to. We do one album a week, and here's what I've noticed about the metal calendar. So I follow the list of heavy metal albums Wikipedia page that breaks it up by year, and that's how I draw out my calendar. There's a couple of websites out there. I think Loudwire has its own calendar that it keeps up with. The wiki's pretty accurate. I haven't seen much out there that's like, oh, well, you know, this is better than the Wikipedia page. It gets updated pretty regularly. Mm-hmm. You know, like if Blabbermouth announces something, it's captured on the wiki pretty quickly. And most genres of metal are captured on there. The occasional, like Crowbot's new album, if you're into stoner metal, for some odd reason wasn't on there, but most other things that we would talk about here or that we listen to are covered there. So what I'm getting at is when a new album drops that we're just not going to get a chance to talk about, I know we do a year-end special, usually at the end of a year, right at the beginning, before stuff starts dropping proper for the new year. And that's where we get to talk a little bit about shit we never got to. So right now, Jesse, here's a list of albums that I'm keeping an eye on, and I've gotten the old playlist here on Spotify that we're not going to get a chance to talk about, but I think people should give it. I like them, and I think people should give them a shot.
Okay.
Okay. Sonata Arctica has a new album out. Talvio.
These were the guys that did the I Can't Dance cover, right?
Yes.
Okay. All right.
They're pretty amazing, especially if you're into like progressive metal. Sonata Arctica, you can't go wrong with them. They're big time. Elven King, Reader of the Runes. You know much Elven King?
No, none.
Folk metal.
Okay.
Visions of Atlantis. This is their second album in as many years, and they had an album last year that I actually wanted to cover on here, but we never got, like, too much other stuff came out, we never got to it. Pretty impressive stuff. I think you'd like it.
Okay.
Iron Bunny.
Sounds like a gimmick band to me.
3 K-pop singers and a cyborg guitarist.
Yep.
This next album is the fucking tits, Jesse. You should listen to it when we're done here. Like, just play it for your wife right now.
Oh yeah, right now.
Right
Walk
now.
into the bedroom with it on the Spotify on my phone.
Yeah, let's
Cranked
kick
up
open
to
the door
11.
with this fucking blaring. Okay.
Okay. All right.
Sacred Reich Awakening.
Oh yeah, you were talking about that. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet.
I listened to it on a lark one Sunday morning while, like, reading comics for the Source Material podcast, and I was like, "This is the tits," and I must tell everybody.
Nice.
The new Crowbot is out. If you're into Clutch, if you're into Corrosion of Conformity, if you're into fucking bluesy stoner metal, you can't go wrong with Crowbot. They have a new album out called Mother Brain. Give it a shot. I fucking love it.
Sounds like a good Metroid-related album.
It's not.
Well, it's not, damn it.
Twilight Force, Dawn of the Dragon Star. For all you D&D nerds.
Okay.
Hammerfall has a new album out, Dominion.
Ooh.
Speaking of stoner metal, Grand Magus Wolf God.
Is that out?
Yeah, it's out.
I gotta get that on, because I'm definitely interested in the Crowbot, definitely interested in the Grand Magus, so...
Yeah. Well, if you're interested in Grand Magus and Crowbot, then you should also download the new Road Saw.
Never heard of that band.
Tinnitus the Night. Like tinnitus
Okay.
in your ear. Get it?
Tinnitus in your rear. I don't need it in my rear, sir.
No, not in your rear. Your ear. You get tinnitus in the ear. God damn it.
Tinnitus in your rear.
Corn in the rain. Why would you not say porn in the rain? I said corn and grain, not porn in the rain.
Goodness.
Anyway, I heard Road Saw was on that Sucking the 70s compilation of, like, stoner rock bands doing 70s covers. They're fucking amazing. Yeah. Road Saw is fucking amazing. I would highly suggest them. Death Angel, Humanicide.
Oh, some Death Angel. Well,
Yeah.
I miss it. I remember that last album we covered was just fucking awesome.
Yeah. I wanted to get to him this year, but, like, so I was talking about, like, how the schedule tends to develop. It's like there'll be weeks where just nothing of note comes out, and then everything comes out in one day.
Yep, right there.
And backs us up for 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it'll be like 2 months later, we're still covering the same shit that dropped one day 2 months ago. So if you liked Rage of Light, then you'll love Frozen Crown, Crowned in Frost.
Okay.
Earlier this year, the new Whitechapel dropped. I've kept up with them. I like them. I wanted to cover them, but, just ran out of fucking time this year. So check out Whitechapel, The Valley. Rock Goddess, This Time.
Okay.
Incite, Built to Destroy. Which I believe I have to look them up again. I think they're from Brazil. But they... I want to say there's some loose association to Sepultura. I remember that's why I downloaded their album. And finally, Love Bites, Clockwork Immortal.
Love Bites.
That's actually not the last one on here. There's a few more. Einhire, Neuron Spore, for all you folk metal people. Monster Truck, True Rockers, for the stoner rock crowd. Orange Goblin, The Wolf Bites Back. Madball, For the Cause. And that's it. So
We didn't do Madball? I'm really surprised we didn't do Madball.
We did Sick of It All. We've done Stray from the Path. We did not get a chance to do Madball. Now, I listened to the new Madball For the Cause when I was in the hospital, and I was doing my walk around. My walk around. I had to walk around the unit, try to get some exercise, and I was bopping out to Madball.
Evil Ways featuring Ice-T.
Yes.
Wow. All right.
Our government is fucked. Try to bring us down. Media-side civil unrest. Hate that can bring it down. War! We don't need your war.
Judgment Night, ladies and gentlemen.
War?
Go check out the soundtrack.
I don't know why I don't know why I'm fucking making Ice-T into a Skeksis.
That sounds weird. I'm too skexy for my shirt. So skexy it hurts.
Yes.
All right, Mark. What else? Take it.
All right, next week, Tarja Bomb, Tarja in the Raw. And then we got Korn, the Nothing. And then we end the month of September and we kick off October with Hell Yeah. Welcome home, baby dolls. If you're looking for other Radulich and Broadcasting podcasts, we just dropped our review of It Chapter 2. If you can get past some of the sound issues from one Jason Teasley, who apparently was swimming while he was on the podcast, or doing or banging pots and pans together, or strangling a cat. We're not really sure what was happening.
Doing dishes while he's on a podcast would not surprise me.
But yeah, eventually he fucking muted his phone so we could actually hear what people were saying.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, eventually we got around to a really great discussion of the horror genre itself and how that relates to It Chapter 2, so give that a shot. It's Onslaught month, all month long here. First 2 volumes have dropped from the Source Material podcast. We've got the next 2 coming up real soon, volumes 3 and 4. And then we kick off October with Gotham by Gaslight, the book, and then the movie. So check those out. We've got TV parties for She-Ra, Dark Crystal, Age of Resistance, WWE Clash of the Champions, Disenchantment Season 2, and Beverly Hills 90210. We've got we'll have a review for Rambo Last Blood a little bit later in the month, and we'll have an on trial for the original Dark Crystal. We've got some boxing coverage coming up. Devin Haney versus Zawar Abdullah, life goes on. We've got we'll have a watch along. That was a Beatles joke, Jesse.
That sound. Oh, no, yeah. Wasn't there a show that used that as the intro?
Life Goes On.
It was called Life Goes On with Corey, if I remember correctly. Remember Corey?
No, myself.
You don't remember? He had Down syndrome. He was like one of the first ever actors that I remember being on.
Oh yeah. I know who you're talking about now.
All right, now good. Continue.
Myself and Pat Mullen will be doing a watch-along alternative commentary for Josh Barnett's Bloodsport 2. Victor Ciccato is coming back on the podcast. Him and me and possibly Robert Winfrey will be doing some boxing alternative commentary for Andrew Shelby versus Jay Harris on ESPN Plus September 21st. That's going to be in the middle of the day. That'll be fun. And that's it. You might hear me on some other people's podcasts. I was on Polynix. When that drops, I'll let people know. I'll be on Biodocs later in the month. When that drops, I'll let people know. And I think that's all for me. Thanks. I'm driving.
All right, then. Well, ladies and gentlemen, go give the Radulich in the Broadcasting Network Facebook page. I'd like to stay up on top of all the great podcasts that we have to offer. Mark mentioned Podcoin earlier.
Yes. Shit. Hang on.
He didn't play the ad. Hold on a second.
Hey, everybody. I really do hope you love the Radulich and Broadcasting Network. Did you know that you can actually get paid just for listening to this podcast? I know it sounds insane, but it's true. We just discovered this free new app called Podcoin, and it literally pays you to listen to podcasts. Here's how it works. You listen to podcasts, and you earn Podcoin while you listen. Then you turn that Podcoin in for gift cards at places like Amazon or Starbucks, or if you're a good person, you could even donate that Podcoin to charity. The more you listen, the more you earn. Here's what you do. Download the app right now on iPhone or Android, and I have a special code for you. Simply use our code MARKWED5. That's capital MARKWED 5. Capital MARKWED 5. MARKWED 5. And you'll get 300 Podcoin just for signing up. And if you listen to enough of us on there, you can get a cappuccino at Starbucks or an Amazon gift card on us. So go ahead and go listen to this podcast or virtually any podcast on Podcoin and sign up with code MARKWED5. I swear it'll change the way you listen to podcasts. There it is.
All right, so you heard about Podcoin right there. And let me tell you about the Patreon, too. Just like Mark said, we got some exclusive content on there. So go check that out and think about offsetting your costs by listening to more podcasts on Podcoin. Other than that, I think that's about it. I mean, we have all sorts of great stuff here on the network you can go check out in the archives. We talk TV, we talk wrestling, we talk politics. No, we do not talk politics. Mark does on other podcasts. But we talk comics. We do have some stuff coming out for the Unspoken issues pretty soon. So keep an eye out on that. If you like 90s comics, our tag teaming with the Unspoken Decade, where we provide them with a podcast about 1990s comics, should be coming up with a couple new episodes here in the future. So I think that's it. I'm ready to get out of here, Mark. Take us home, buddy.
Thank you for joining us here in the Metal Hammer of Doom on the Radulich Broadcasting Network with Jesse Starcher of the Source Material Podcast, which you can hear every Monday on the Radulich Broadcasting Network. For the love of God, be well, be safe, and behave.
In our world now, and this time there's no escape from the Mind Flayer. Experience the most terrifying moments of Netflix's Stranger Things Seasons 2 and 3 at the world's premiere Halloween event. It's Universal's Halloween Horror Nights. Select nights September 6th through November 2nd. Save up to $52 on select nights. Visit HalloweenHorrorNights.com. Online only. Restrictions apply. Not recommended for children under 13.
Hi, I'm Jay Farner, CEO of Quicken Loans. 30% of Americans who are planning home improvements of $5,000 or more will pay for those renovations with a high-interest credit card. That may not be a great idea. A better idea may be to take cash out of your home with a Quicken Loans 30-year fixed-rate mortgage. The rate today on our 30-year fixed-rate mortgage is 4.125%. APR 4.22%. Call us today at 800-QUICKEN or go to rocketmortgage.com.
Rate subject to change. 8.88% fee to receive this discounted rate. Call for cost information and conditions. Equal housing lender. License in all 50 states. NMLS number 33.